Good morning, friends. As we have got our periodic file letter ready, which is able to write realtime.log by appending lines as long as we want. So let's write our final unit test case and the implementation for tail online. So I will create a test case here, alt insert test method, and I will create something as test tail method real time for running log file. It's a big name, but let's give a better display name like test tail method for a running log file. Okay, so again, I will create this as we created this in periodic file tester. So I will copy this part because we are going to use this exactly same, this part at least. I'll copy this, and so what it will do is that it will again create this realtime.log, and we create this file writer and an executor, and we can control here that how long we want to write it here. So it will throw an exception. So again, let me add it to the message signature. So that's a part here, but now let's create our JTail class as well. So JTail I will use. Okay, so let me just interrupt here first after this point before we create this. So we got our periodic file writer, and I will use the same path for creating our JTail object. So remember, JTail takes the file name and the number of lines we want to monitor or print. So I will create this first. Say new JTail, and I will use this path that we have created, path.toString, because it takes a string, and I will use 1 because I want to append it one line at a time. And I will use this Ctrl-Alt-V as JTail, or yeah, JTail is fine. It's final JTail war. Maybe just use war. Okay, so we have got our JTail object. Now we need to know that we need an event handler that whenever anything is appended to this realtime.log, we need to have a callback when we actually do the tail and try to grab that line that has been created. So for that, there is a very useful service available in Java NIO, which is watcher service. So I will use this watcher service here. So how we can do that? Let me do it here in our JTail object. So I will create another watch directory. So it would be private path watch directory. And I will create a setter method for it. So I will just come here and setter method, alt insert setter watch directory. Okay. So we have got this watch directory, and then let's implement our tail. Let's go back to our test case first. So here we are going to set our watch directory. So watch directory should be this path. So whenever there is any, so we have got watch directory where we can listen on the event, whether any file is created here in this directory, or whether we are deleting any file, or we are modifying any file. So all these type of events can be handled by this watch directory. I will show it soon. So, but first of all, let me set this watch directory using that setter method that we just created, and I will pass the same as path of. I will just copy this. But here we are not going to use the actual file name. I will just use the directory because this is the directory that we're talking about. So I'm setting a watch directory here. Now let's go back to our implementation and let's write our tail online method. I'll go with public void tail online. Okay, and let's implement this here. If say watch directory is not correct, so always do a precondition before you proceed. Fail fast. It will return. it will, there's a problem here. Or we can also throw an exception, so that's fine. I will create a watch service now. This is the important part. And for this, I will use file system. There is a file systems class, Java NR file. I'll just use default and create a new watch service. This will throwing an exception, checked exception. So let's handle it here. Not handle, but throw it. And then I will use this watch service, watch directory, to register with the service. Register with this service and register with this watch service. And so there, here I can list down that what are the events I'm interested in. It can be an array, but in this case, we only want to see that whether the file has been modified. Modified means that there is the application which is keep on writing this log. So that's why we are only interested in only one type of event, which is entry modified. For that, we can just register it like this. We got standard watch event kinds, standard watch event kinds, and I will only use, and so we can see that there is overflow, entry modify, entry delete, and entry create. So these are type of events we can handle. So, but I will use only entry.modify. So once this is registered, our directory, watch directory, this path, so this particular folder where we are appending this resources. So this is registered as in the watch service for any entry modification. So whenever any file is created or appended, that will be handled here in this event. So now we can use this watch key to exactly get the event and write the callback. So I'll use this watch key, and again I will use a while loop because it will. I want this as far as it's keep on appending and getting this event, we will keep on handling the callback. And our callback would be actually calling the tail method again that we have already written. So let's implement this first. So I got this take and not equal to null, which means that it will keep on waiting for the event until there is any modification. And that's all. And let me check the exception again. It's interrupted exception. Yeah. So what we are doing is that in this service, this method will block here until we have got any event. And once we have any event, then only it will proceed, and then we will check for the event. We'll poll all the events. So watch event, and let's use a wildcard here. We're not interested in this event. We are just going to, because we know that we are only going to write to this log that we are going to do. We are going to monitor, and here comes an interesting part. So let me move this string method out to the bottom, and let's do it here. Control Y. Okay. So here we have got an event, which means that any entry has been modified here in this watch directory, our resources folder, where we are writing this file. And we simply, maybe I will use a format again, and I will simply write this %s, and I will call this tail method. The tail method which we have already written. So it means that if we are using the file name and the tail number as 1, so it will call this tail method inside this, and then it will give me the last line which has been appended. So this is what we have already covered in our previous video, that how to read a static file. But we are going to do the same thing that in the tail online as well. But the only difference is that we are based on an event. Any modification is done, only then this event will be polled, and then we simply call this tail method and print that line. And this will keep on doing it as far as we are running this, appending this file. So I'll call this reset. So reset means that once we have consumed this event, then again it will go to this while loop and again wait for the next modification to happen. So this is what it is all doing it. Now let's